Okay, I'm back. Per se. And of course, by back, I mean I am actually going to be doing my live stream on those I want to see for the Star Wars Anthology movies, which, in my opinion, will be a little easier to do than that. So feel free to in the chat below talk about Star Wars anthologies that you want to see, and I'll talk about Star Wars anthologies that I want to see, etc., etc., etc. So yeah. So I'll be beginning the stream basically now, but I should be letting you know essentially that I am gonna be live streaming. I'm going to give you guys a few minutes or so in order to comment down below on what you want me to do, per se, what you want to see out of a Star Wars anthology movie, etc., etc. So I give you about 1 to 2 minutes to let me know that, and then I'll begin my live stream officially. So yeah. Okay. I think I give you enough time to do so. Just let me know in the comments or in the chat throughout it. We're here to talk, really, and discuss. So Star Wars anthology movies I want to see. Well, let's begin with actually some kind of easy stuff. Stuff that we know is pretty much happening. Let's begin with the one that is a pretty much a sure thing, a Han Solo movie. Okay, there's the best image of Han Solo I got currently. Okay, there, Han Solo. So we know the Han Solo movie is going on, and I do want to see that, as long as they do it right. So there's numerous ways they can do a Han Solo movie. Probably in my opinion, the best way would be kind of an origin story, but not too much. I think what it needs to be is not an origin of a Han Solo origin story, but more of a origin story on how Han met Chewie, obtained the Falcon. I believe I talked about this in a regular video I did, probably around January of this year. It was a while ago. Let me check. Shouldn't take too much time, but yeah, that's definitely one that I wouldn't mind seeing as long as it's done correctly. Okay, the movie I was talking was done in December of last year, so that was a while ago. But yeah. But yeah, so I wouldn't mind a Han Solo movie. Do a good thing, and I do want to see it as long as it's correct. I think two good things they need to include will be obtaining the Falcon and meeting Chewbacca. Whether it's Han Solo as an Imperial, take his Legends, story, which I wouldn't mind him being an Imperial who defected when he saved Chewie and just then became a smuggler. Or they could even take it he was a freighter pilot who contracts with Imperials too. There's many things they could do, but I do want to see it done correctly and properly. So now let's talk about another character that is pretty much a show-in for an anthology movie. Because they pretty much have already announced that. Let me find an image of him. There, that's a good one. Obi-Wan Kenobi. I made the image too big. But yeah, Obi-Wan Kenobi he got an anthology movie for about him, which would be pretty nice as long as it's again done correctly. So there's a couple of ways they can do an anthology movie about Obi-Wan. This is kind of what I'm thinking would make it good, because we don't know nothing about it, and it's not officially confirmed, but I don't think it's officially confirmed. No, it's not, if I'm correct. But it's a pretty strong rumor that's a likelihood. But if they do it, and I do want an Obi-Wan Kenobi movie, it has to be done correctly. Sure, they can always do one with him when he's training, but when he's a Padawan, but that wouldn't be as nice of a movie, cause come on, we all want oh, what's his name? I'm terrible with actors' names, by the way. I am so terrible with actors' names. The actor who played Obi-Wan Kenobi in the prequel trilogy. I am terrible with actors' names. I could look it up, but I won't spend the time doing that. Let me know if you remember in the comments. I don't want to accidentally mispronounce it, so not. I think it's pretty easy. I can think of the actor who voiced Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, but man, I can't remember his name. Otherwise, let's move on from me not being able to remember the Obi-Wan Kenobi actor's name in the prequel trilogy. But we all want him to play Obi-Wan again. He's expressed interest, if I'm correct. So yeah. So actually, what I think would be neat is on Tatooine, and really the enemy is not an Inquisitor. Maybe there can be a bounty hunter, but internal demons kind of thing. We get to see Qui-Gon's ghost more actually, or hear his voice to probably be even more accurate. Obi-Wan's dealing with internal struggles. And maybe we can include some flashbacks to when he was a Padawan. But yeah, really, this movie, in my opinion, a good Obi-Wan Kenobi movie would be it would be very much about Obi-Wan and all, with a few other actors. We can get a cameo from Luke, maybe a cameo from a few other characters, but like most of the characters, in my opinion, will have to be Obi-Wan in Obi-Wan's mind. They're either flashbacks and thinking back to when he was younger and that. In fact, the only character I think would be good for everyone to interact regularly with for the movie will be Owen Laws. Sounds weird, but that does make a little sense. We see Obi-Wan watching over Luke, yeah, but we get to see him having conversations with Owen. Some earlier on, some later on, kind of thing. Could be different ways. Them arguing about what Obi-Wan should be doing. Also, I think it would be good to see Obi-Wan's journal that's been mentioned in canon. That would be kind of good. See him writing in it, or whatever, however it's recorded. I'm not quite sure, but see him writing his journal. That would make a good addition to it. Very much so, in my opinion, and such. So yeah, I do want to see that as an Obi-Wan movie. And then, of course, the main enemy can be can be not a character, not any old character, of course, but character that Obi-Wan maybe has made up to deal with his situation right then and there. His situation on Tatooine, to be actually a little more specific as such. So yeah, that would actually, in my opinion, make a pretty decent and interesting movie. Lot of more internal villains than anything else. Um, I'm just trying to think of a few other things that would be kind of neat to see in a an Obi-Wan movie. And really, I can pretty much though only think of the ones we already know in canon and such. Um, yeah, other things, really, maybe a few bounty hunters, but yeah. There's not too much things for an Obi-Wan movie that would be nice. That would be, in a way, a bit original and not too much based off of what we have seen in the comments. Because we have seen that, so, yeah. Though I would say that if that making it like a totally inside Obi-Wan's mind, per se, would be kind of interesting. That's like where the main villain is as such. And I think that would make a pretty interesting movie, to say the least. It would be quite fascinating. And I think it would be a quite fascinating movie to be out there. Okay, I can't think of too many other things that would make a good anthology movie for Obi-Wan Kenobi, so maybe it should be time to move on to the next anthology movie I would like to see. So let's move Obi-Wan's picture and see if I can find another good picture for a good Star Wars anthology movie. Ah yes, the good old classic Boba Fett. The Boba Fett movie. Now, I don't want the movie to be about only Boba Fett. I think a good Boba Fett movie would involve Boba Fett being forced to team up with a other bounty hunters for some reason. What it could be, not quite sure exactly, but they have to team up. That's and it can be said. It would have to be said, in my opinion, before in New Hope. So in the time of the time between the trilogies, I think that would be an interesting time to see the what's going on in going on. Be a more of a Boba Fett, not a strictly Boba Fett movie, but a Boba Fett team up movie with some other character. Um, so yeah, others good movies. Oh, there's probably a decent number. Bounty Hunter, but I am trying to think of what will make a decent Bounty Hunter movie. Um, yeah. I am trying to think what would make a pretty good Bounty Hunter movie. Things it would have to be a team up movie, but maybe they would have to be hired by somebody. It is kind of hard to think, but Boba Fett movie would be the generic term to say the most. Um, so yeah, that would be probably the best case scenario. Uh, Sorry, I'm just doing a bit sharing in this video. Okay. So yeah, that's probably the best Boba Fett movie. Will be more of a bounty hunter movie than anything else. So yeah, so there it goes. I want to see a bounty hunter movie. And speaking of a bounty hunter movie, who could be hiring him? None other than Jabba the Hutt. So a bounty hunter movie, I think, will more focus on the bounty hunters. But a Jabba the Hutt movie would not necessarily be about Jabba, but about the criminal underworld. Kind of think of it as a mob or mafia movie. Think like The Godfather, but with Hutts and Star Wars. Actually, I don't know too much about The Godfather, so I don't know if that's an accurate analogy for what I'm looking for, but I think it's close enough. But yeah, so about the bounty hunter movie, I think we'll focus more on the bounty hunter, a bounty hunter team up movie, a Jabba the Hutt or a more General Hutt movie would be more focused on the criminal underworld and leadership kind of thing. We could get cameos from bounty hunters we've seen throughout, and could be set in really any timeline because Hutts have very long lives, especially if we want Jabba, which probably would be a good way to include. But there would be very much a mafia or a mob, so we would get to see more of like the main character we found wouldn't necessarily be Jabba, but be one of his henchmen or his major domo, his second in command kind of thing. We would see more of that aspect. We wouldn't see too much with um with Jabba because that would be pretty boring. He just sits there and orders people killed. But yeah, it'd be kind of an interesting movie to say the least. I could see a bounty hunter movie be more likely because that can be an action movie, a lot of a action movie, and yeah. In fact, the bounty hunter in movie can be really you get like the Huts given hiring some bounty hunters in the beginning, and then we don't see them again to the end. But the Hut or Boba's Hut, Jabba the Hutt movie would need the Hutt's more involved, or at least Jabba if it's Jabba or some new Hutt. But I think Jabba would be the best bet. And it could be, can show the power struggle between the Hutts and them having their pawns, their henchmen fight it out for them. That would make a pretty interesting movie, I would say. Would be a very much a mafia or a mob style movie. Probably let's see what other anthology movies would make some a pretty good movie. X-Wings. Yeah, X-Wings. How? How were they developed? We might actually see some of this in Rebels, but because we know X-Wings are going to appear, but I think they kind of think, because I know how I wanted them to appear, not even appear in the trailer, and they did appear in the trailer. I wanted the surprise to be a surprise that they saved for the episode. But if they just kind of show them, not make too much of a comment on how they got them, just as they got them, that could leave an opening for a movie. This would be kind of a basically take the legend story, the income scientist designing the X-Wing for the Empire and then defecting to the Rebel Alliance with these prototypes and plans, and it would make an interesting movie. And that would be another one, kind of like Rogue One, but I think could be handled a little better. Like we could see a rebel that maybe we know. That's the only time, or a whole new rebel who helps get the who helps the scientists escape with the prototype, and that would be kind of a thrill movie, almost a heist movie per se. That's another way they could do a bounty hunter movie, but getting the X-Wings to the rebels, I think, will make a very interesting heist style movie. Would be quite fascinating to say the least. So yeah, yeah. So yeah, that would be kind of nice to see a heist movie for involving the getting the X-Wings. So yeah, so there you go, a heist movie getting the X-Wings. They could change it up a little bit for Legends, that way us people who know about the Legends are not too shocked. But let's move on to another one. One that I've been meaning to get to and I haven't got to. Stealing the plants for the second Death Star. Because we know Bosums were the ones who got it. So, how? How did they get it? How did they steal the shuttle? That would be such a fascinating movie. And they did Rogue One, so this could be called Rogue 2, and the mission's called Rogue 2 in honor of the people of Rogue One, the characters of Rogue One. See how, because there couldn't be a sequel. The sequel is A New Hope, but call it Rogue 2. Some people think it's going to be a sequel to Rogue One. I wonder how they're going to do that. We'll get to see them destroy the Death Star. But no, that'd be the twist for the people who don't know Star Wars as well. But it would be, boom, you get to see them get the plans for the second Death Star. So we get to see Bonsams appear on screen for the first time, and I want their appearance to be their Legends appearance. So we get to see how many of them died, because in Legends it actually wasn't too many. It was more like a handful, but like a much maybe a chain of Bonsam spies get killed delivering the Death Star plans. Because we know the rebels are going to succeed, not because they got the plans, but because the Emperor wanted them to get the plans so they could be leading in trap. So that could be like the another plot. The the Empire, the ISB or military Imperial intelligence in the military discovers the rebels' plans, informs the current head of the ISB or Emperor Palpatine or Darth Vader or some Moff or Grand Admiral or something, and then the Emperor, then it gets to the Emperor somehow, says, let them get it. Do it. No kind of thing. Do let them get it. So we can trap them and destroy the Rebel Alliance once and for all. That would make an interesting movie. Because unlike Rogue One where the Empire wanted the Rebels not to get the plans. Now we get one when the Empire wants to let the rebels get the plans and the shelter to destroy the children or to get on the planet, to make it look all good in that, make it look realistic, but still letting it happen. So that would make a very interesting movie, and then maybe we can see a Imperial who's being an overachiever, who's actually trying to prevent both sides from getting their goals accomplished, and he ends up being killed by Darth Vader. Wouldn't that be interesting? Like, Imperial got killed for trying to protect the Empire, essentially. By the Empire. Because he was interfering with the grand plan of the Emperor. That would be amazing. Would make a very interesting movie. And that's kind of what I want to see in a movie involving getting the second Death Star. The Empire winning, letting the rebels get the plans without letting the rebels know that they were letting the rebels get them winning. And maybe having to kill some people to prevent that from happening on both sides. It'd be quite interesting. Or maybe review that one of the Bosums actually knows of the plan and is secretly working for the Empire. Twist! Granted, because you got people like me who are speculating like this, but that's kind of some things I want to see. So, let's see what else I would want to see in a Star Wars Anthology movie. I don't know what I'm doing there. Oh, here's a picture of a Bonson, by the way. A Legends picture. Boom, that's why I want Bonsons to look like. Okay, then now let's get serious. Let's look at some prequels, characters and stuff. I don't really see... yes. Count Dooku. But not just Count Dooku. But Count Dooku and Yoda. Why? Well, because I know it was in Legends. I think it is also in canon. I'm pretty sure based on that from episode 2. But that Yoda was Count Dooku's master. So having an adventure they go on, Yoda training Dooku. So we get to see a young Dooku and a slightly younger Yoda. And as I said in my Anthology movie part 1, the ones I don't want to see, I don't want to see a Yoda movie. But a Yoda and Count Dooku movie could work, because they were focusing, in my opinion, more on Count Dooku than on Yoda. But they were focusing that. And then maybe we could see his tendencies maybe to a darker side, his dislike of the current corruption. And speaking of corruption, let's move Yoda from the picture entirely and make it an anthology movie about Dooku coming to realize that the Republic is corrupt and joining the Sith in order to take down the Republic and uncorrupt it. And maybe that could also be done too. But kind of an interesting movie, maybe a bit too political. So I think a Yoda and Yoda training Count Dooku have one of the adventures, but they would make a much better movie. But let's move on to others. Let's try looking at something that I could base off of the animated. If I have the right pictures, of course, which I hopefully will. Alright, let's look at the Mandalorians. Why? The Mandalorian Civil War that was mentioned in the Clone Wars. Now I'm showing a Death Watch from during the time of the Clone Wars. It gets the point across. So that will actually give another look into Obi-Wan, but the team would be the main character. We would get to see what happened, how the new Mandalorians came to power and won. That, in my opinion, would make a very, very excellent movie, and I would like to see that. That would be kind of interesting because that would be a very Mandalorian heavy movie. And speaking of Mandalorians, let's also talk about when the Empire took control of Mandalore and at the end of the Clone Wars in Order 66. That because we know Captain Rex and Ahsoka was there, so we could do a movie like that and get them both on the big screen for the first time. Unless you subscribe to the theory that Rex is the old soldier on Naboo, in which case he's been around longer than he's been around. But only if you subscribe to that theory, which I want it to be true. But let's talk about Order 66 on Mando. So that would be because we know it occurred. That would be a Ahsoka and Rex movie primarily. But we would get to see more. We probably would get to see Bo-Katan and a few other Mandalorians that we come to later. Maybe we get to see Sabine's parents involved somehow, etc., etc. Maybe and Darth Maul, of course, will be back in the swing of things. Give him another big screen appearance and such. So, really, any of the Mandalorian Civil Wars would be good, in my opinion. Would make some nice movies. And those would be, and I think those would best be done as war movies. So yeah, other movies that I would like to see, based off of things appearing in the animated TV shows. I want to get the right picture. If I have the right picture, I should say. No, wrong arrow, but eventually I'll talk about that. Okay, let's go for a Commando movie. Or, this one though could also be done as a video game. So yeah, I just want to point that out, that would, in fact, maybe do better as a video game than as a strictly an Anthology movie. But yeah, Commando movie would be kind of neat, or the Bad Batch, a movie about them, which would be kind of neat to see. Though again, I do want to make that would probably make a better video game. And someday over on my video game channel, John Bear Gaming, link in the description, you can go subscribe there if you want. I will be doing a video about video games, Star Wars video games that I would like to see. But that's probably won't be for another 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks or so. So don't count on that video. But I got a lot of other just so you know, cause I'm kind of talking about video games, that I'm currently playing through Star Wars Battlefront 2 from 2005 over on that channel, along with some Star Wars Battlefront mods from the 2004 game. Eventually, I also will have Star Wars Battlefront 2015 on there, and of course 2017 when I get to it, of course. But yeah, so a Commander movie or video game to be more realistic, because that would make a very good video game. But let's talk about something more interesting. Something that probably everyone wants to see. An Old Republic movie. Now, how this would be done, I don't know. Personally, I do think they need to change it off from what occurred in the video game, Star Wars The Old Republic. Star Wars Knights of the Republic and related games and books. First of all, they got to dumb down the technology. Hate to say it, but maybe no, they could keep. Let's see, because there's a couple of eras in the Old Republic. There was the there was the Fall of the Old Republic, which would make a very good game, and a game movie. So we would get to see the Fall of Coruscant, Mandalorians taking back the Darksaber. In fact, I actually had created an outline for a whole Mandalorian series, not Mandalorian, Old Republic series of movies, which I'll talk about someday. Which I think would be an interesting movie, Old Republic, or make it a trilogy. Have it go on and on, or have it be its own kind of saga. We get to see the origin of the Chosen One prophecy, confirm the fact that it was misinterpreted by the Jedi, and maybe even also by the Sith, making it a much more elaborate prophecy than we think it is. That would be so cool. So we get to see the Old Republic a lot. Have hyperdrive technology maybe be a brand new thing that people don't trust, and people are using an older form of faster than light travel. Maybe make it more similar to warp engines from Star Trek or some other sci-fi universe, where it takes about maybe 1,000 years before the Old Republic is or the time of the prequel trilogy. Have a movie there. Have a movie 1,000 years before that. They could really expand it on. You can have a movie about the origin of the Republic. Then have a movie maybe about the Sith. That era has so much that could be done with it. I think it's best to devote an entirely own video to that subject. But do kind of want to say a few things though about technology in that. Technology would have to be dumbed down. Not made look older, but dumbed down. Maybe what we see in Star Wars The Old Republic video game, which I'm currently live streaming, not currently, but I am actively live streaming right now on my video game channel that I mentioned earlier. But, so yeah, I would want to see that. But that technology in that game, that would be best suited 1,000 years before the Clone Wars. That, like hyperdrive is pretty good in that. People have become adjusted to it, but it's not as fast. It's not as good. Instead of taking a few week, like a week to travel across the galaxy, it takes about maybe a few months. Actually, I don't, because even in time of the Clone Wars, depending on the plot, you could travel across the galaxy in a day or in a week. But personally, I like to think to travel across it's about a day journey in hyperspace between systems. So in my opinion, I would like to think it takes about a month to travel across the galaxy. Because things like that, or sectors maybe. But I like to think it takes about a month to travel across the galaxy at the time of the prequel trilogy. No, a month being the longest. Unless you get except for maybe, but it could vary. I think a good thing because of the variant, I have a theory on that, which I'll do that in a later video. Let me write that down. Okay. Basically, what I think of it like a hyperspace speed limit. That's all I'm going to say because I want to develop that theory more out based off of limited knowledge I have. But yeah. But what I like to think is in the Old Republic, the technology hyperspace 1,000 years before, you got hyperspace, people are accustomed to it, but it takes longer. About let's say half a year to travel fully across the galaxy unless you get a few select hyperlanes that have maybe a bit faster speeds, but you gotta know the right lanes, which have. So I'm revealing too much of my theory already, but so that would be good. And then maybe 1,000 years before that, or even 500, you get to see hyperdrive technology introduced in the time of the Old Republic and that going on, and people are nervous about it. You get maybe the hyperdrive no, catapults too. Maybe that's how it starts, like 1,000 years before, 1,000 years before the Clone Wars, 2,000 years. And then slowly they develop into shipboard systems. Kind of thing. Again, though, people are nervous about the technology to begin with. It's slower, maybe when it's first introduced, it still takes about a year to travel across the galaxy. But before that, they need a propulsion technology different than hyperdrives. Maybe warp drives, they warp space-time or something, or some kind of other fascinating tech travel where it takes longer to travel across the galaxy. Not longer than a year. I would say longer than a decade. Maybe not as slow as warp drives in Star Trek where it takes 75 years to travel halfway across the galaxy. But maybe more like and the Star Wars galaxy is, if I'm correct, is it smaller or large? I forget if it's smaller or larger than the Milky Way. But kind of that. I'm focusing a lot on the technology part of the Old Republic movies I want to see, but that really, if they do want to, they gotta get the technology right. They gotta show that it slowly advanced, or even quickly advanced, but show advancement. Show people nervous about hyperdrive technology as a new technology. Show that the previous systems were much slower, and the hyperdrive itself gradually improved to where you can travel across the galaxy pretty quickly. I think warp drive like in Star Trek would be a good predecessor. Maybe more advanced in Star Trek, but where you can travel across the galaxy in about, maybe it slowly works its way away from like a century to a decade kind of thing. And then hyperdrive cuts that decade in 10. Not in half, but in tenths. Down to 1 year kind of thing. Like, people try it because it's so good and so bad to travel, even though they're still actually nervous about it. Which I think would make a good movie, really. And there's probably a lot of other Star Wars Anthology movies I want, so you can let me know in the comments which other ones you want, and which ones, and I'll see, and I might make a video responding to those comments and your stuff in the chat, probably comments, etc, etc, etc. So yeah, those are basically it. And I think though what I thought of this technology stuff I'm talking about will be its own video. But yeah, so that concludes my live stream. So thank you for watching this with me. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe for future content, Star Wars content, Star Trek content also, because it's fascinating. Star Wars series every now and then, and reviews, of course. I'm rambling and now and such and such and such. So thank you for watching. Have a day, a good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you.